HarperCollins presents The Clockmaker's Wife by Daisy Wood. Read by Sophie Bentinck. To Philip, with love and gratitude. Author's note. Big Ben, as the great clock at the Palace of Westminster has come to be known, is recognised around the world, a landmark that draws tourists like a magnet and tells Londoners they're home. During the Second World War, however, the clock held an even greater significance. In prison camps, cellars, attics and back rooms all over Nazi-occupied Europe, people secretly tuned into wireless broadcasts from the BBC, and for most of the war, the chimes of Big Ben were used to announce the 9 o'clock evening news. People everywhere were encouraged to pray for peace as they listened, and this sacred moment was known as the Silent Minute. The great bell represented freedom and better times to come. As long as it tolled, at least one country resisted oppression. The Clockmaker's Wife is a work of fiction. As far as we know, there was no conspiracy to destroy Big Ben on New Year's Eve in 1940. Certainly no evidence has ever been found. The Houses of Parliament had been bombed in September of that year and were to be more seriously damaged in May 1941, when the Commons chamber was destroyed by incendiaries. But these episodes were incidental rather than targeted. Yet such a plan isn't inconceivable. St. Paul's Cathedral had only been saved by a miracle a couple of nights before, when over 100,000 bombs were dropped on the ancient city of London. The Palace of Westminster was similarly vulnerable, and the loss of such a beacon of hope as the clock tower would have been a terrible blow to morale. Despite this imaginative leap, I have tried to ground the plot and setting of my novel in historical reality. When I began dreaming up the story, renovation work to the clock tower was already underway, and a visit in person was impossible. Yet I was lucky enough to experience the next best thing, a talk at the Houses of Parliament by one of the guides, Catherine Moss. She and her colleague, Lindsay Shoesman, know all there is to know about Big Ben, and I'm extremely grateful to them both for their help, so generously given. At the time of writing, these renovations are still some way from completion, but the results will surely be spectacular. I've come to think of Big Ben as an old friend, and a trip up the clock tower is top of my wish list when the world returns to some kind of normality. I wrote much of this novel during the months of lockdown, due to the coronavirus pandemic. It's been a strange time, and one can't help noting the similarities and contrasts with wartime Britain as we currently battle a more insidious, invisible enemy. Researching London during the Blitz has left me overwhelmed by the extraordinary courage of so many ordinary people, men and women just like Nell and Arthur, and in awe of the sacrifices they made to ensure the freedom of generations to come. I couldn't help thinking of my own grandmother, the original Daisy Wood, who lost her brother during the First World War and brought up her daughter, my mother, during the Second. How I wish I could talk to her now. Prologue. London, April 1939. "Not much further," Arthur calls down to Nell, who is labouring up the stone spiral staircase behind him. She's wearing new shoes that have rubbed a blister on the back of her heel, and it's...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?